To my understanding, and I want you to correct me if I'm wrong, Jason, is when you submit for mental health and you need a fiduciary, that is when the VA will start to consider. That's like the threshold, right? Once you say, hey, I can't manage money, I can't manage anything, that's when the VA is like, okay, let's take a look at this, right? And then they may notify that state level resource. It might be federal. That I do not know. But there's a system called NICS. So you get a NIC tick is what it's called. And that system, so if I go to my local dealer and I want to get a Walther PDP, right, a 9 mil, and I'm going to get a tick in the NICS system, and then they will say, you're back, right? No. That's my understanding. That is my Barney style understanding. Yeah. And so can we talk about just Second Amendment and veterans?
Yeah. So this is how I like to start it, Clay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Look, whether it's your First Amendment, your Second, your Fifth, I don't care. When you start taking people's rights away, you better have the authority to do so, right? This is a bureaucratic agency who has zero power to do that, first of all, although they are, right? So really, what's going on here is there's been a lot of talk about really removing the VA from having the ability to just arbitrarily go, we think this because of whatever, but we determined that you shouldn't. So we're going to report your information, and the NIC is the National Instant Criminal Background Check System. So the FBI system, so federal. So it goes into that federal, you're federally registered as a do not sell firearms. And oh, by the way, turn in all those firearms that you do have, right? So let's not forget that. If you try to take away anybody's rights, they would be up in arms. And I get it, you know, the Second Amendment rights, there's people on two sides of that, and which is everybody should look, it's so weird to me how, okay, well, everybody pretty much believes in First Amendment rights or the Fifth Amendment, right? And all the other ones. But when it comes to the Second, it's this weird, like, you know, I don't know, thing going on. And it's like, nope, it's one of our rights and it should be treated the same. So no matter, pick your favorite right, and that's how you should feel about all of them, because that's what they're there for. So anyway, the Second Amendment thing with the VA, I think has gone kind of unnoticed for a long time. And what happens is loosely, it depends who you hear it from, right? So some say that as soon as you are assigned a fiduciary to manage your funds, right? Because you spend too much time at the casino, or you go get too many massages, or whatever you do with your money, and you get assigned a fiduciary, automatically they do it. So some people say that's what happens, that they automatically just send off this your information to the FBI. And then if you hear it from the VA says, well, no, it has to hit this, and we look into this, and we look into that, and are they a danger to themselves or others, and blah, 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 blah. And I don't know if I fully believe that. I think the truth lies somewhere in between, right? And the reality is, in my opinion, this is just me, totally not, I mean, I have zero education in legal anything. I have no legalese, okay? All my education is, well, I don't even remember it. So it doesn't even really count, right? I have a master's in HR management, but I don't even really remember any of it. So it's like, it doesn't even count. So I have like a high school education here that I'm working with. And so the bottom line is that I believe that a veteran, anybody, should have their due process, right? They should be able to have somebody of some sort of legal authority determine whether or not, through some sort of, here's proof on both sides, and somebody gets to make a decision, right? Some sort of a real process, instead of the VA just going, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Too much time at the casino, Clay. We're going to have to reel you in. And no guns for you, right? Don't need you taking that in the casino if you lose. right?
Yeah.
So I've been weird about this thing ever since I heard it. I don't like it. I don't like that the VA has that kind of power as some bureaucrat, some mid-level person, right? It's not the VA secretary who's sitting there going, let me make a decision here. It's somebody way down from him who's saying sayonara to your rights. We're talking, forget about guns, okay? We're talking about rights. Your rights as a United States citizen ripped away from you from the VA. What if I said, guess what? The DMV is going to decide whether or not, right, your Department of Motor Vehicles, wherever it is going to decide whether or not you get to keep your First Amendment rights. You acted funny when you were in there. The line was a little long, and now they put in a request to have your First Amendment rights taken away from you, and you have to wear a funny shirt that says you can't talk, right? Everybody would be like, what the hell is that? The VA should not decide if somebody gets to have a gun or not. That's not their lane. Stay in your lane. Focus on giving me good benefits. Focus on giving me quality health care in a timely fashion with bar none customer service, and focus on giving me benefits in a much earlier time frame than how long it's currently taking. How about focus on those things and leave the gun stuff to the legalese people? That's my take on it, Clay. Oh, I will say this. Let me throw this out there to you.
Yeah.
Unless you have something to say. Do you have something to say yet?
No, I'm just gonna.
Okay.
If you're watching
I'm
this
excited
right now, drop it below in the comments if you want Jason to run for president in 2024.
Right. Yeah.
Go ahead,
So no, I don't want to get my ears shot, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, dude, I mean, come. I thought Reagan was the last one, and remember, so there was like 2 months later, gunshot rings out, right? And Reagan goes, missed me.
Yeah.
It just keeps going. Anyway, so, all right. Here's where we're at with this Second Amendment thing. Okay, this is horrifying, by the way. Okay, the House of Representatives is saying, hey, look, we don't want you to do that anymore. We want veterans to have due process for their rights as an American. Okay. And oh, by the way, VA, we would like you to let the FBI know that you kind of erroneously reported people on not enough information in the past. Okay. Like, let's try to make right what you did wrong and let people have their due process. Okay. And then figure it out from there. Sure, there might be some in there that shouldn't have firearms, but let that process be held the way it should be. I'm fine with that. This is in an article on the Stars and Stripes, and I'm just going to read this one tiny paragraph. It's 4.5 lines. At issue is legislation called the Veterans Second Amendment Restoration Act that would direct the VA secretary to issue a formal notice that it acted without authority or court determination that the veterans posed a danger to themselves or others when submitting their names to the FBI National Instant Criminal Background Check System. Okay, now here's the horrifying part. The horrifying part is that the agency, got to read this one to you, okay, and then I'll be done. And I want to get your thoughts, Clay. A VA official said this week, the beginning of July 2024, a VA official said this week at a House Veterans Affairs Committee hearing that the agency will not comply with proposed legislation that directs the agency to notify the Attorney General that it acted inappropriately by seeking to end veterans' gun rights when they were determined unable to manage their benefits. If you can't manage your benefits, you can't own a gun, period. We're standing by that, is the VA's stance. What are your thoughts, Clay?
I think the answer is no. I mean, I can't disagree with the VA more than anything. And there's so many levels of wrong here. First of all, VA does what Congress says. One, they just said, nope, we're not going to do that. Okay. Which is just weird. Like, that relationship is just very, very weird. The VA is in service of the veteran when it comes to healthcare and benefits. That's it. Like you said, it's no adjudication process for rights, for legal anything outside of healthcare and benefits, and it's not their place. There's so many levels of wrong there. I really feel like if I say no too many times, the libertarian, Eastern Kentucky in me is just going to sprout out, and then the YouTube channel will get canceled. But my one response is no, right? That's not what the VA does. The VA is supposed to be veteran centric and provide health care and benefits to veterans.
I want to see you with blue paint on your face, screaming freedom.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Absolutely. So that's the overview. That's kind of like the where we're at right now. And that subcommittee happened on July 10th, I want to say, if I'm right.
I think so.
Very, very
I can't
recent.
remember exactly.
Very, very recent. But
it was recent.
The Veterans Second Amendment Protection Act, okay, which is essentially what Jason and I have been saying, but the opposite. So specifically, and I'll read this highlighted portion here. The bill prohibits the VA from transmitting personally identifying information of a veteran or a beneficiary to the NICS system. That's the federal, hey, you can't buy gun system, solely on the basis that such a veteran or beneficiary has an appointed fiduciary to manage their benefits. That's what it says. But according to that subcommittee, even if this is passed, the VA is going to say, nah, we're not going to do that, right? I don't know what worries me more. The VA telling the subcommittee, nah, how did that conversation take place? Or the VA doing an adjudication process on the legal side of the house to strip away a veteran's rights? I don't know what bothers me more, because both are objectively wrong according to U.S. law. And it's insane to me. Myself specifically, I have a mental health rating. I don't need a fiduciary. Okay. But in the context of the VA, if they believed I did and I didn't have one, or if they believe I shouldn't own a weapon, all of a sudden I don't have a weapon. No. Not that I can't purchase any. Now I'm on some list. I don't want to go too crazy here, right? But I'm on some list, and now all my weapons I do have magically disappeared in our boating accident last week. So it's like,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. Oh darn. I'm sorry for you, Clay. That sucks.
That's all I have on the Second Amendment Act, Jason, unless you have any final thoughts on any of the policies that we had discussed.
Contact your congressional member and tell them that VA should give veterans their due process.
Absolutely. Due process is the key here.